Nahaga Nisinga, everyone. Welcome to Rising Warriors, Rachael Kulei. I am excited to be here today with our special guest, Native Outlawz, Gary Jenness.
Jeanette,
Today, Jenness, and he's got
there
his
you go.
mug right here. And is
Native
that your shirt
Outlawz,
you're
Native
wearing
Outlawz,
too?
Native
Native
Outlaws
Outlaws.
everywhere.
Well, and
It's
I
my
just got a
life, my
sweatshirt
passion.
yesterday. So I'm
Did
excited to
you?
get your sweatshirt. Yep. That'll be coming in the
Awesome.
mail. I'm excited to get that. Yes.
Yay.
So
But
you guys,
yeah, I just
huh?
started up a clothing line. Haven't really promoted it, but that's what I got.
I'm excited. When you showed me that, I was excited to see that. So tell us a little bit about Out Native Outlawz.
Well, I started Native Outlaws back in 2012 September, and really it was because I was trying to find pride to put on my page, Native pictures, Native memes, and I just accumulated a lot. And I was posting them, and somebody said I should just start a page. So I started the page pretty much just where people could come to get pictures and memes to put on their walls, their pages to show their pride. And yeah, I started reading their signatures, finding them on Facebook, and starting to share their stuff. And like I've mentioned, it was a win-win. I get to put some cool art on my page. I get to promote some artwork to the fans that really appreciate it. So, and then beaters and native clothing lines, and I just started I didn't start a movement, but my biggest thing is native supporting natives. Right now, I use my platform to support other artists. These pictures behind me were gifts from artists that I've helped promote, and yeah, I'm pretty proud of that. And I've
And
met
two of
Karina,
them look familiar.
yeah, Tristan Jenny and Karina English.
Yep.
I met Karina a couple years ago at the New Year's Eve powwow, and that was
Oh,
an incredible experience. Because she was by herself. She lived in near past Seattle, but she was by herself. And when I showed up, I actually got to help her. She had to use the restroom, need some coffee, need some food. So I did that for her. And then I spent, instead of shooting video for my page, I just hung out with Karina the whole night. And she told me her story. She was doing a painting on a big piece of wood. And I actually got to hold one end of it while she was painting, telling me what everything meant, and it was just living in the moment. And I had a great experience, and I just stayed the whole powwow with Karina. That was awesome. So I
that's
do I
beautiful.
do I do run into the natives occasionally, like at New Day Spirit, which is
Uh-huh.
Greg McCook. I have a picture of him. He was actually a fan of my page. I saw him at a
Okay.
powwow. He had a booth. He had a booth, and he comes out and he goes, "Hey, Native Outlaws, can I get a picture with you?" And I said, "Hey, I'm a fan of yours. Can I get a picture of you?" So yeah. So it's cool, especially when you get to meet people. And yeah, so and the story goes is I did have another Native Outlaws page. It got hacked, stolen. I got 210,000 likes, and I felt that I had a purpose. I was able to reach a lot of people, especially with the what goes on in Native country. You don't see it on the mainstream news. So
Yeah, that's what you
you
were
need
saying about Standing Rock.
yeah, Standing Rock. Nobody that I knew of Standing Rock, but I knew thousands of natives who were there doing live stream. So I was sharing their posts, and yeah, everybody knew. So I don't sing, I don't dance, I don't drum, but I have a lot of pride, and I put a lot of myself into my page, and I do more than just post stuff that I come across. I do go to people's pages, and I do look at their profiles and their albums, and I share what they have done in the past and what they're doing now. So, but sadly, Facebook is like a government run. When I share stuff and email, and I'll get thousands of likes and comments, and it's sad. So, my
Right.
one thing that I try to tell people is support your native pages. Go click on their link and see what they're doing every day, because you're not going to see it on your timeline. And
No.
that's how Facebook started. They would show all your fans. It would go on their timeline, but now they limit it, and they try to force me to pay to promote my post. And I
Yep.
don't get money for what I do, and I don't expect to pay money. So it's a Facebook game, but the way around that is for us to come together, support our native pages. Click on the link and see what we have to share. Because one thing that I say to everybody is, I post new stuff every day, all day, every day. On my free time, when I get a break at work, I'm on my phone doing something real quick, and I just want to make it interesting
Yeah,
and
you're always
let it
posting
grow for
something.
all day, all night.
Yeah.
So, but I want to have people interested in my page, so they'll come check it out. And my biggest thing is native supporting natives. I say it all the time, or sharing their pride and talent. That's my two biggest things that I say. That's what it's all about. So,
I love it.
so
Well, that's what we're doing
yeah, I
here.
mean, especially with social distancing. With social distancing, we need these outlets, a place to come together because we don't have powwows. So this is the powwow. Of course, we did
Exactly.
sneak a powwow in August. We had a powwow in Vancouver. That was pretty awesome.
I didn't make it to that one.
Yeah, it was kind of low
Yeah,
key,
I know.
but I
It
did
was
post
so
it.
low
So
key, I didn't hear about it until
yeah,
after.
yeah, and because of social distancing, now me and you are talking, and we live in the same town. How cool is that?
Exactly.
So
It was just
now,
like a bit.
yeah, so hopefully I'll get to see you out on the Powwow Trail.
I'm excited. Well, you know what? I actually have I recognize your face and I have seen you at the powwow trails. I've seen you at PSU, Delta
I'm always
Park.
shooting video. Yeah,
I've seen you at the Heritage, which used to be the Covington powwow that I helped put on through the Title VII program. So
yeah,
you've been there. I've seen you there. Some powwows down in Salem in that area. So I
yeah.
recognize
I
you.
got
I'm
about
good with
100
faces.
miles.
Yeah.
Right on.
So I
And
recognize you.
you'll always see me on the very top bleacher in the center with my
Yep.
phone.
Yep. Standing there.
So you know, that's kind of why I started doing. That's why I have clothing now, because I do want people to recognize me, because I want to be able to stand right next to the drum and share what they got. So a lot of
Right.
people already recognize me, but now now that I got Native Outlawz, people are gonna know. And so yeah, but yeah, I'm
I
sure I've
love
seen
it.
you too. So I'd have to go through my videos and find you.
It's a like a pink jingle dress, and then I have an all white traditional buckskin dress. Yeah, so look
Wow.
for those too. I'm working on my next jingle dress right now. I'm actually going back to the old style traditional dresses. So what happened was a couple years ago, I had a dream, and one of my great grandmothers came to me and she says, "I'm a granddaughter. I'm going to show you something." And she goes, "This is what our dresses used to look like before the white man came." And they were deer hooves. And so she showed me this
Wow.
dress and she showed me how to make this dress with all these deer hooves. But she said that because of hunting, that's when the transition went over to the tobacco lids for the jingle dress. And, not the men would go hunting, they would bring back the deer, elk, and they would give those hooves to the medicine people, and so that they could, because those jingles, they shake away, they do that healing, but they also like disperse of that evil energy and entities that could be around. So that medicine, and when you hear that clinking of the deer hooves, what you hear with the traditional men when they dance, it's really shaking that evil away. And so she said that it's time to bring this old dance back. And because of time and not being able to go hunt, and as we're supposed to, and everything started getting allotted, you're only allowed to hunt this much, you're only allowed to hunt in this area. And they started, government really started shifting us and only putting us in areas that where there was barely any elk, barely any deer, barely any buffalo, or whatever that source was that you hunted for. They relocate us and put us on areas that we don't have
No,
access
we
to
don't
that
have
food
access to that.
anymore. And so here, we go on. And
Go
so then
on.
it was told that the tobacco lid from the chew can is what you would take, because the tobacco being sacred, that was like the closest thing that you could get to form into that lid to form into the shape of a deer hoof. So if you really look at the shape of the jingle and then you look at the shape of a deer hoof next to each other, they have the same type of cone drop that it has together. And so that's one thing I'm working on right now through all this COVID stuff and things, is I'm working on this new jingle dress that I'm going to bring back, that's, you know, from the old ways. Which brings me into my next thing that I wanted to talk about, is generational trauma and the things that people don't really know about, unless you are Native and you know you come from, well, we all come from it, being Native, but really a lot of people don't know what is going on with disenrollment, and government really trying to buy people out of their tribe. And so that, because the idea is, you know, kill the Indian, and it's always been this since the beginning: kill the Indian, save the white man. But now I was talking to my mom yesterday, and it's more like kill the Indian, steal the land. And that's where we are
All the
now.
above.
Exactly. And so I'm hearing this all over, and they're even trying to do this to my tribe. They're trying to get my tribe to be not federally recognized anymore because we're a small band. So they're trying to get us to not be federally recognized anymore. There's a bunch of my family relatives down in California that they just became disenrolled members, and the tribe and the government forced them to disenroll. So we were talking the other day, and I thought this would be a very powerful thing to talk about, that needs to really be talked about and shared, because this is not taught in school. People don't know what is really going on in Native country. It really is like a third world war. People think that, you know, it's bad in Africa, but they don't go and see the reservations. They don't go and um, visit and actually see what is going on in the living situations. And then not only that, those of us that are in the city are the ones too that, you know, somehow along the line, like with my grandma, she left the reservation and brought her kids out to the city to raise them and go to college and create an education, because our grandfather told them that in order to win the white man way, you have to get educated, you have to go to school, you have to learn their ways in order to use their ways against them, to be able to have a gain and upper hand. And so I wanted you to share your story with what your journey and path has gone and what has taken you through there, because there's so many of us that have had, like with me, my language was taken away because my grandma being in boarding school, and beaten so many times, and my aunties and my uncles, uh, you know, speaking Shoshone is behind closed doors. Trying to get them to still speak Shoshone, it's really hard because they still have that fear of getting beaten into them, when they would only be asking each other, hey, do you know what the teacher just said? And she goes, I don't know what she said. And then boom, you know, they get whipped and whacked, and or thrown into a cellar where it's pitch dark and locked in, you know, in these dark rooms as little kids. And so, you know, all of our stories in Native country really, um, they're different but similar and the same because of the genocide. And so I was really impacted by your story when you were telling me that the other day, and I would love for you and be honored for you to share that with us.
Sure. It is something hard to talk about. It's even harder to admit. But with my page, I come across a lot of natives and in various situations, and really it's a generational thing. My mom passed away in 2010. She would have been 90 now. So she was a residential student. And and because of that, it really broke her. And then as soon as she got out of school, she ended up marrying an older white man who really wanted nothing to do with Native culture. So, like you said, he took my mom, plus they had two kids. I have a different father. And so, anyway, he took mom, their two kids came to Oregon, and my mom just lived white. And then my dad came along, and my dad's pretty open. But anyway, we've been out here forever. I grew up in Portland. I still live in Oregon City. But for me personally, I always knew that I was Native. I had Native relatives, but I didn't know that I was actually a tribal member until I turned 18. And when I after that, I was proud and all, but I still didn't have any culture. I didn't know anyone on the res. I never been to a powwow, never saw regalia. So I turned 21, and I was offered a settlement, to give up my rights for any future lawsuits against the government, to give up whatever other Native rights that would have gave me as far as hunting and fishing and schooling. But when I was 21, I didn't have any culture. I'd never been to the res, and $30,000 was a lot of money back then. So I that's what I did. I took the disenrollment option, but I was young and pretty naive. But my sister still has hers. Her two daughters have theirs. My oldest son has his tribal card. So, here I am, the one person in my whole family who doesn't have a tribal card, but I'm the one who has all this pride and, tries to share everything that I come across with everybody. But, so yeah, it's hard to admit that I sold out, but I don't really look at it like that because I didn't grow up Native. I had no culture. I didn't know what it was to be Native. But as I got older, I feel it in my heart and I see what goes around, as far as towards Native people. And now, of course, with social media, there's a spotlight on everything. So, right. So for me, yeah, I'm a disenrolled tribal member. My mom lived on the res, and she was taken from the res, and it's just that quick from one generation to the next. My mom, had she used to not speak Yurok, but she could understand it and hear it. Mm-hmm. So from one generation, my mom living on the res, to me living somewhere else and having a different life growing up. So I've always been proud to be Native, and as I get older, it just grows and grows. And like I said, I don't drum, I don't dance, and I don't sing, but I try to do what I can. I'm just a Native trying to make a difference. So
well, and who's to say that you can't dance one day?
Yeah, that's true.
So see, I got the hookups. I can help you get a regalia all set up. I know how to do men's traditional.
One thing I'd like to learn is how to drum. I do have a hand drum. Right now I have it out, Karina English. She's painting it for me. She's almost done. I'd love to learn a song. So
okay, well, I will teach you a song. How about that?
That would be awesome. I'd love to have to at least know one song.
I'll teach you a song. It's a really good song. It's the Dama Apa Usende, which it means Creator bless me.
Yeah, awesome.
So I'll teach you that song. But I just wanted to just tell you and finish as we wrap this up. I just wanted to say that, to you and all of those others that may not have an enrollment, may be disenrolled, may not, because I have family members that the tribe's not even accepting them and they're qualified blood quantum to be an enrolled member, but they're not enrolling them. So I just want to say to you all, and especially you, that paper is a paper, and they can try to take that paper away. They can take the paper away, but they can't take the blood inside of us. They can't take our ancestors away. They can't take, when they bleed us, we're still going to bleed our ancestors. You're still going to bleed that red, that blood of our ancestors. It's still in you. You can still go to powwows. You can still go to ceremonies. You can still go and sing and learn and bead and let your spirit connect, because right now it's our time. It's the time to rise. And it's a dream that I had years ago, that one day that the natives would rise together, all and that we would blossom as a rose, and that all nations would follow unto us because we know the traditional ways. But that's the traditional way of finding your spirit and connecting to creator, connecting to the earth, connecting to ourself, our true high purpose. And so I just want to say to you, and everybody, that keep going. Don't listen to what people say, you know, that the people, I've even had people tell me I'm not native because I'm half native. It doesn't matter. I still take pride in being that native, as if I am full native, because that's who I am. That's my everyday living, that's my everyday life, and that's the way, that spiritual connection, the connection to life, the connection to our brothers and sisters, and to creator, to our ancestors, that is what brings the native, the warrior, the resilience to keep going. That even though, they can try to take the paper away, they can try to take our tribes away, they can try to take the land away, but they can't take this, they can't take us. They can try to, but they're not going to. So I just want to,
Yeah.
say thank you so much, Us, Thumb Us, and they, thank you for sharing your story, because so many need to hear this, and you're not alone.
You know, the
And
the message I would like to get
yeah,
sent
go
out from
ahead.
this is we need to support each other. I get knocked down all the time. You don't even look native. You're not native. It's like, you should support me, and whatever I don't know, you should teach me. So yeah, it's pretty bad when it's native against native, and it's only because the government had a blood quantum.
Yep.
Nobody says how black are you or how Asian are you. You're Asian or you're black. But natives, it's like, okay, well, how much are you? Well,
Yeah.
just because I don't have a piece of paper, I still have the a quantum. I still have more than a lot of people. But I
Exactly.
young and I sold out, but I'm still native. I'm learning the culture. I'm learning some of my language, and I'm just learning. And hopefully, people will support me. Others knock me down. I get a lot of messages. Most of them are supportive. They appreciate my page and what I do. Other people's are just upset because of a post or how it's worded. You know, it's like one post I had was God made me Indian, and it was Sitting Bull. And somebody said, well, God is their term. We say creator. Indian, it's Native American, but it's Sitting Bull talking to the white person back in his era.
Right.
And they know it as God, and they knew themselves as Indian, which even are right now, like my mom called herself an Indian, your grandma would call herself an Indian because that's how they knew themselves. So it's not,
Hmm.
derogatory or demeaning. It's a cultural thing. But I get a lot of
Right.
that. I get a lot of hate, but I get a lot of support too. So I feel I do have an important role. I maintain my page. I try to get it popular for when times come up for natives. It's like the news station. You're not going to hear about nothing going on for us on the mainstream media. So my page is for natives by natives, and yeah, it's my cause and purpose, and it's in
Well,
my
I've been
heart. It makes me
following
feel
your
good.
page for many, many years. I think since Standing Rock, because I was at Standing Rock, and that's when I really noticed your page, was when you were posting everything while we were there. I was there for about a month during November, so
Yeah.
that's another story.
And
But
it's a whole rise of warriors, right? Water protectors, land
ex-
protectors. Yeah,
exactly, so many. And then you have the the stream warriors that are out here, that what you're doing, that we were calling, because you're out here spreading everything, posting and on social media, and getting word out there. So thank you through that time too, and really doing that. And you do have a
my
role,
pleasure.
and you do have an important role here, and keep doing what you're doing. And don't listen to the negative ones. They've
Yeah,
got their own things, they've got their own traumas that they're going through, and just be like the eagle that's just flying above, and just know that, all right, that's your opinion, and just kind of just like dust it off your shoulder, and pay attention to those positive ones, and just keep doing you, and focusing on your why and your vision. So thank you. And real
exactly.
quick, where can everybody follow you at and get your amazing sweatshirts and coffee mugs and things?
Well, I suppose I can post my links on my comments, but really it's just Native Outlawz. I'm not hooked up to Instagram or anywhere else with my page, but I might do that eventually. Right now, it's just pretty much Native Outlawz and my own personal page, Gary Jenness. And I have that because I want to meet artists and I try to friend them because if you're on my friends list, I'll see all your posts. And really, that's what I do is I wake up and I share what's on my timeline. Is all these native artists and pages, and I just share what's on my timeline. But there are times when I'll see somebody post a new artist, and I'll look and I'll find their paintings and I'll share them, I'll friend them, but nobody really knows who I am. So I get left hanging. But it just makes it easier for me to support people if I'm a friend. But it's not a necessity because I'll go out of my way to support somebody, especially if they're very talented. So
Yeah,
it's
me
all
too.
about native supporting natives. So
I
So
love
yeah,
it.
come to our pages and check us out and support us. So because we're here to support you.
Yep, and we'll support each other. So everybody, natives support natives, and let's support each other. And even if you're not native, support us because we've never been really supported, and it's about time something happens for
And
us
it's always about
in
a good
some
cause.
way.
We're always fighting for what's right.
Exactly. It's not for selfish things. This is really for you. This is the way that we live. It's for 7 generations to come. It's not for us, it's for the next 7 generations. So I'm going to leave that with today. And thank you everybody that tuned in and watching. And thank you again, Gary, for being on, and follow his stuff
My
and
pleasure.
stay tuned.